Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Premier Injuries Daily Update. Hopefully, I'm coming through loud and clear. Massive tech problems, no laptop, stuck on the iPad. So here we go. Like I say, fingers crossed, I don't have any more problems. Quick roundup of what's happening over the weekend. Of course, the big talking point was in the early kickoff on Saturday and the absence of Erling Haaland from the Manchester City squad. Didn't come as any massive surprise. When questioned on Friday's press conference, Pep said he still had one more session to go, although the striker had improved quite a bit. However, after the 1-0 win at the Foxes, it did reveal that a ligament problem kept him out of the game. So maybe a little bit more severe than first thought. And that, again, that's always going to be the problem when a quick turnaround between Dortmund and Leicester. Injuries can evolve over 24, 48, even 72 hours. So initial assessments may have been fairly positive. But again, it's flagged up something a little bit more sinister than first thought. Now, we do know that Erling Haaland will not feature in the Champions League. No need to take any risks there. But it is hoped that he will be available for that game against Fulham. So like I say, he had made major improvements heading into Friday's session. So hopefully that will continue and there won't be any kind of further setbacks or reaction. The other big talking point of the weekend was the injury to Bukayo Saka. He was forced off midway through that first half on Sunday. Now, thankfully, again, it looks to be more of a precautionary withdrawal, although very painful. A lot of discomfort. It was an impact injury. Mikel Arteta said that he took a kick or two around that lower leg and the ankle. And from the beginning of that game, limped through, like I say, it's in around that sort of 27 to 28 minute mark. Now, again, I wouldn't expect him to be risked necessarily in that Europa League match on Thursday if there are any concerns, but there is still hope ahead of game week 15 that he will be okay. Like I say, the fact that it's an impact injury, that he was able to continue even for a little bit, suggests that it isn't too serious. So fingers crossed with regards to that. Now, elsewhere, Ralph Hasenhüttl spoke on Thursday. He talked about that he was hopeful of maybe getting Romeo Lavia back in the squad following that hamstring injury that's kept him out for around about 6 or 7 weeks. He said that a conversation needed to be had with the medical department before he could be cleared. He wasn't in the matchday squad on the Saturday, but he did feature for the under-21s on Sunday, and they played Middlesbrough. They won 8-1, a game which Theo Walcott scored a hat-trick, and I think Mora also got 4. But Romeo Lavia came through that game unscathed. So it's a player, that 18-year-old midfielder, I do expect to return to the matchday squad this weekend. Maitland-Niles was also handed minutes on Sunday. For West Ham United, Lucas Fabianski, he was replaced at half-time during their defeat to Manchester United. Now, David Moyes said he jarred his knee. It was a hyperextension of that leg bent back. Now, again, it sounds as if that he was replaced as a little bit of a precaution. As with every injury, there's a severity scale here. In terms of where we're at with Fabianski, there's nothing to suggest that it is too serious. He did continue for a bit. The decision was taken because he didn't want to risk exacerbating that problem. So if we're talking about maybe a mild sprain of those ligaments, a little bit of bruising, maybe a little bit of swelling, that may be impact on that range of movement, but certainly not long-term in the grand scheme of things. They may want to send that goalkeeper for a scan just to make sure that, again, it's nothing too serious with regards to that. If we were looking at the higher end of the scale and, major ligament involvement, maybe the ACL is one of the most common. When that occurs, think maybe Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and I think maybe Zuma had a similar type of mechanism. Then there would have been a lot of instability in that leg in this game. There's nothing to suggest that at this moment in time. For Chelsea, we had a quick update with regards to Wesley Fofana and Reece James. They're going out to do some warm weather rehab out in Dubai with a member of the Chelsea medical department. That's good news with regards to the fact they're on the next stage of that recovery process and they're pushing to be involved. Hopefully, we won't be available for the national team. Highly unlikely that they will feature for Chelsea before this World Cup break, but both players are still hoping of being available or injury-free for their respective national teams ahead of the World Cup. It'll come down to, each respective manager to determine whether they want to take any chances on a player who hasn't played competitive football for several weeks and may lack a little bit of match fitness and sharpness, but certainly good news in that regard. For Manchester United, we know that Raphael Varane, he won't feature for Manchester United before the World Cup. He's currently rehabbing in Clairefontaine. And if you don't know, Clairefontaine is the French equivalent to St. George's in England. And that's an opportunity for the national team, medical team and backroom staff and coach to keep an eye on the centre-back firsthand to make sure he's progressing. Now, that hamstring issue is expected to keep him out for around about 3 to 4 weeks. So you really need that rehab and that recovery process to go well to put him in with a shout of being in that national team squad for the World Cup. So fingers crossed that goes according to plan. Now, we did expect to see Victor Lindelof in the starting lineup at the weekend. However, illness kept him out of the squad. And Harry Maguire was afforded the opportunity to come straight back into the team. So that's good news with regards to that for England and Gareth Southgate. Anthony, again, was another surprise omission. Now, apparently, Eric Ten Hag said this was not related to his showboating that enforced that withdrawal in the Europa League on Thursday night. This was a knock. It's nothing serious. He hopes, and probably not, he expects Anthony to be back in training within the next maybe couple of days. So maybe ahead of that Europa tie midweek. Now, he has started all 5 games in that Europa League. It may be that he's not risked and they keep him for this weekend. But again, nothing too serious. My boys, Newcastle United, fantastic result against Aston Villa, 4-0. However, there was one, the performance was slightly marred by the loss of Fabian Schär to a hamstring problem. Now, that needs to be assessed fully to determine the extent of that issue. It didn't appear to be a big pull, but hopefully just a precautionary measure. Now, Eddie Howe does have options in that back line. I would suggest that maybe it could be Matt Targett would come in on the left-hand side with Dan Burn moving more centrally. The only concern is we have seen Sven Botman playing on the left-hand side, and obviously Dan Burn is a left footer as well, and also Jamal Lassalle. So there may be a little bit of a reshuffle in there if this hamstring injury proves to be a little bit more severe than first thought. Emi Martinez, Aston Villa, the visitors' goalkeeper. Big talking point on the day, took a bit of a knock to that head, was allowed to continue, and many questioned, whether he still should be on the pitch. About 10 minutes later, he was replaced. We bang the drum about these concussion protocols and how players are assessed. The actual fact is the SCAT 5 concussion evaluation means that players cannot be fully assessed within those time limits. You need at least 10 minutes to get that done. But hopefully he was up and about after the game, and it looks to be as if he's okay. Sticking with goalkeepers, and Chelsea, Kepa, he indicated to the Chelsea bench that he was struggling with a bit of an ongoing foot problem during that first half. He managed to see through those opening 45 minutes, but Edward Mendy came in. Again, we're hoping that it isn't too severe. Kepa will be a little bit disappointed because he's just broke in to that first team under Graham Potter. But like I say, that will be evaluated. Likelihood is we will see Mendy in goal midweek in the Champions League. And finally, just in case you've missed it, this is Ivan Toney. Didn't have the best of weekends. He was a slight doubt heading into the weekend's game because of a fever. So he wasn't 100%, although he was cleared. But he's picked up his 5th caution of the campaign, and that's going to rule him out for one game, which is round 15. So that's it for now. Apologies if you heard the kids come bundling through the door. They're very excited because we're off trick-or-treating tonight, so they're hyper. So they're shouting up the stairs there if the mic picked that up. But that's it for now on your daily update. We'll be back probably Wednesday, but if there's any big news ahead of those European fixtures on Tuesday or Wednesday night, of course, myself or Jason will drop you a new video. So that's it for now. See you all again very soon.